Well, I've had a lot of positive comments over my lawn over the past few weeks. So let's have a look at it. This is what it looks like now. I cut it yesterday morning. And well, you can see that it's grown a bit overnight. A fair bit overnight. As it's currently raining, I thought it would be best I could show you exactly some of the troubles that I have maintaining a nice lawn in my garden. Some of you have commented saying that it's a nice lawn, and it's, well, it is a nice lawn, I do agree. However, it's not all easy. In fact, there's some areas in which I do struggle quite a lot, and one of them is this area that we're seeing in front of us around here. Now, because the way that the drain is, there's a drain there that comes out from the driveway that gets flooded, and there's a pipe that goes under the lawn and goes to the right. Now, as it's only a single pipe and it's not anything, it's not actually a drain, it doesn't drain into the sewer or anything like that, it's a soakaway. So that gets full up and I end up with a large puddle, as you can see here. We have a puddle in the drain there, which has then started to puddle up on those little makeshift temporary, that are not so temporary, paving slabs. They were temporary when I put them in, however they've been there for about 4 or 5 years. I quite like them anyway, those paving slabs. But you can see they've started to puddle, and it's also puddling over there. Now, the lawn from here may look as if it's, you know, not affected and it's still quite nice. However, it's not. If you go and have a look up close, as we will in a moment, you'll see that the lawn doesn't really like being underwater, and if this happens over a long period of time, as it does in the winter, it starts to thin out and you end up with just a bit of mud, which is very annoying, and that's even if you don't walk on it. If you walk on it, then it goes instantly. You know, it's almost as if it dies the minute your foot touches the floor. So it's really not easy trying to maintain a lawn in that area. The areas which are particularly easy for me are over there, and up on the higher part up there, and along there, and all the way down the other end. They're very easy to do. That bit doesn't flood. It's these bits along here which flood. Those are the parts what cause trouble for me. Now let me show you the other part. Right, as you can see here, this part along here is the part that I newly seeded. I seeded this part probably the beginning of this summer, and we're in August now. No, we're not. Yes, we are in August, I think. Only just the end of August. This is a nice part of the grass. However, this part here is sustainable, and all this part here is very sustainable to thinning out once it gets very wet. You can see there's a drain here, comes from this gutter, and you can probably see that is actually full up with water after this rain that we've just had. Now, it's not full up because it's blocked or anything like that. I actually do clean it out fairly regularly, and I've only just cleaned it out. The trouble with it is that there's a pipe that goes under there, goes along there somewhere, and it joins up with that other one that we just talked about, what comes up along there, and it joins around here somewhere. Now, the point of it was that the water would channel away and then just soak into the underground and go, but it doesn't work that way. It works that way if you get a small amount of rain, but if you get large bits of rain, you see that we get puddles forming on the paving slabs. There's a particularly bad one on that paving slab, and on that paving slab, and on that paving slab, and on that paving slab. So all of this area here, all of this right up to the bottom of this, all likes to thin out when we get a lot of rain or in the winter. All that part over there, that's lovely. That's really nice. In fact, that's the best part of the lawn. That part going along the back there on the other side of those paving slabs, that is absolutely fantastic. Really nice lawn. It's always nice and thick. There's no trouble there whatsoever. And that goes all the way along there. But it's not as easy as what some of you think. I know it may look as if it's nice from a distance. I recently had a bit of trouble with a spot over there. If I can get my finger about there, you may better see a little indent. That's quite bad. We'll have a look at that in a while. But that's quite bad there. That randomly just died. I must have spilt something there perhaps. I'm not quite sure what. Must have spilt something and that randomly died. So I had a bit of trouble there. Also, I do have some trouble with those Christmas trees. I know it's not part of the lawn and we're talking about the lawn, but I do have some trouble with those Christmas trees when they're not growing as well as they should do. And that one over there. So what I usually do is get my drill there with that little drill pump on the end of it, connect the hose pipe to it and take that through the gate and put that to the real drain, the actual sewer drain out there on the side of the house, and I pump all of that water along out of there. So I've been doing that, and we've still got some puddles there yet because it's still got yet to soak away. There's still some puddles on them other ones as well, but you can see that it has gone down. That puddle that was here is all gone now. So I've left the drill there because it's starting to rain again and we're probably going to get some more. So that's how I combat it, and I dare say there'll be some of you going, well, why don't you just leave it there? It will soak away under its own under its own steam, and it will go and that'll be that. Well, trust me, it takes days to soak away, and before it has soaked away, that grass, I mean it's already started to do it. You can see that grass there, that's started to bend over, and there's a little, see that little patch around about there that's started to sort of, I don't know what it does really, it just sort of starts to sort of bend over to the ground, and then you end up with a bald patch. It just sort of fizzles away. You end up with bald patches, and there's another one starting to happen about there. So if I get the water away quick enough, it doesn't happen. If I get the water away, sort of when the rain stopped or the next sort of chance I get, it tends to be alright. So, some of you may be wondering, what do I use to fertilise my lawn? Well, I've been using for probably about 3 or 4 years now, since I decided to take a bit more pride and care in the lawn. I've been using this stuff here, Evergreen Complete 4-in-1 lawn feed and weed and moss killer. It does do a good job. It does kill the weeds. It also does kill the moss, and it's a greener, thicker, kills weeds and kills moss. Yes, we know it does. Now I get it, as you can see, just because you've seen the small patch of grass that I have. I don't need mass fertilizer, so I get it in this handy little tub here, and it's got the sprinkler thing. You fold that top out and it sprinkles it. It does 100 meters squared of lawn. That will do sort of 2 or 3 goes, it says on the instructions. I must admit, I don't necessarily go by what the instructions say. I go by what I've learned in my time working with grass, and also what I've just experimented and find out that it works better. It says every 3 months, But I tend to put some down, well, this year anyway. Last year and the year before and all that, I've done what it says. But this year, I've been putting a bit more on. Every 2 months or so, I've been going over it again with a bit of fertiliser. And it's been absolutely wonderful. It really has. It's been growing fantastically. Mow it 3 times a week. You can see what mower I have here. I've been using this Ryobi 18 volt 33 centimetre cut easy edge, as they call it. It's part of the OnePlus range. I got it a while back. I bought it out of my own money to test it and review it. Never did get around to doing a review, obviously. I may still do one, but I never did, I don't think. I may have done. I don't think I did. Anyway, that's the mower I use. I'd like to use a petrol one, but the petrol ones I've got in my collection, they're too big really to be using on a lawn of my size I've got. So that's the fertiliser I use. And for those of you, there may be some people thinking, well, what grass seed have you got? What is the species of grass that you've got in your lawn? I don't know. Oh yes, something else that I've nearly forgot to mention was about how you mow the grass. So we're going to look at the mower and that little pile of lint that fell out the tumble dryer. That's my mower, that's the back of it. Now, you'll notice I don't use the grass box. I did in the past, used to box up, and then I decided, when I decided that I was going to become, because before I was sort of getting into really looking after the lawn, and then when I finally decided, well, I got this mower anyway, because the petrol ones that I had, none of them at that time had mulching. The availability to mulch, so I just used to bag up the grass cuttings, and that was it. And then when I got this mower, I did that for a while, and then I thought to myself, well, I've got a mulch plug now, why don't I just mulch? Now mulching is far better, because especially if you're fertilising your lawn, you're going to be cutting off the top part of your lawn, the grass, and then taking it away. And that's just a waste. So that's got all the nutrients, it's got fertiliser in it, it's got nutrients in it, it's got all sorts in it, and you're just taking it away. Whereas if you mulch, you're cutting it off, it's going back down into the lawn, into the roots, into the ground, and then it's just going to rot down, and it'll be reused. Even if you don't fertilise, it's still good to mulch, because of the reasons I just said. You cut the top off, they then fall down in little pieces, little tiny pieces. You got to mulch it. You can't just not use a box, because then the pieces will still be, bits of grass like that, and you'll just have loads of thatch. If you mulch it, it'll be loads of little fine pieces, almost dust if you do it properly, and that will go down in the lawn and act as like I suppose it will act as like a fertiliser, and your grass will then be continue to recycle, and you'll have a nice healthy lawn if you mulch. So now, every single time I cut the lawn, which is 3 times a week, on usually a Sunday, a Wednesday, and probably Friday or so. I don't have a pattern. I don't have a set day or set time for mowing the lawn, but I will do it 3 times a week, and that ensures that it stays healthy. And the more you cut it, the more it's going to grow, the healthier it will be, and that's something you've got to think about. Well, I hope you enjoyed me just telling you how I care for my lawn. I find it quite therapeutic, or I have done recently anyway, just watching videos on how people care for their lawn. I suppose it's more when I become sort of more interested in keeping my lawn nice, because it really does. When you have a nice lawn and it couples up with your house, it makes things look so much better. If you've got a nice house but the garden and the grass is all horrible, and the grass is just like dead, or if there's no grass or anything like that, it looks horrible. A nice carpet of grass, it just makes things look so much better. And I like watching the videos of people over in America and all that, in Florida and all that, where they've all got massive gardens anyway. I mean, a normal house just seems to have acres and acres of land, even if you ain't rich. Whereas over here, you're lucky if you get a little patch, because they have overbuilt the houses far too much and all the land's gone. But that's off the point. All I'm trying to say is, I like watching how other people treat their grass and how they maintain their lawn. So hopefully you got some tips and you was interested. I did get a few comments. I got quite a lot of comments actually, saying on videos where I hadn't intended to show the lawn, I was talking about something else, and people have gone, wow, that grass is bloody good. How did you get it to be like that? And so I thought to myself, well, here we go. This is how I done it.